everybody, weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload Podcast, episode 58. We had said last week that it looks like stuff is going to start kicking off. We're going to have some good media to watch and play and look forward to. And sure enough, I think this was a pretty stacked week. I only got to do a fraction of the stuff I wanted to. So, I mean, I think that already says something. But yeah, I'm excited. Looks like we're off to a good start this year. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we've been up to and some stuff to look forward to and stuff. So pretty fun. Of course, my co-host Legend Jonathan is here. Say hello, Legend Jonathan.
Yo, what's up, guys? How you guys been? I've been pretty good. I got to see quite a bit this past week. I caught up with the usual, which I'm about to get to in a bit, but then I got to see something that I promised you guys last week that I would get around to in some way. And so I'm kind of excited to talk about that stuff. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, you didn't even have to spend $50,000 to
I know, right? Like, I didn't have to
engage with the media. So good for you, you know?
I know, bro. Like, that's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. There's so many people after you told me that little news story, so many YouTubers and stuff were covering it. It was just
It
so
was
funny.
funny.
It was funny seeing all these people putting that guy on blast. Oh my God. It was too funny, too funny.
Yeah, I saw that he made like a apology video actually. Like I
Which is
saw it
kind
on
of
Instagram.
funny because what is there to apologize for? You're the dumbass who was a dumbass and you ruined
Yeah,
yourself. So,
uh, yeah.
you
Um,
know, I don't know. It's pretty
my
funny
my
though.
my plan now is to use FAFSA money to
Uh-huh.
make have someone make an animation of me being chased by Lum from Urusei Yatsura.
Oh my God.
FAFSA
Oh
money.
gosh. Yes. Just get money. So using it for college and all this financial aid stuff. Use it to make a fan animation of you, yeah, being chased by Lum.
Oh
Just for the
my,
heck of it, go for broke. Add some other characters in there.
yeah,
Why
just keep
sell for
adding.
one, right? Just throw a bunch
Yeah,
of characters in there.
a whole harem. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. Oh my
um,
gosh. Yo,
but
since you love Pikmin, it should be you as Olimar, but instead of Pikmin, it's a bunch of just like anime girls and stuff. And
Oh,
you're
and
like,
then like I can like how some of them have like element stuff? It can be
yeah,
like they're like the element Pikmin.
yeah, there we go. Lum will
Exact
be the electric one,
the
and
yellow
then
one, yeah.
yeah, and then you can find some sort of other anime girl. She can be like the fire one, and red, and oh my God, there's all sorts of
Like,
dumb stuff like that.
yeah, it's good stuff like that. That's great.
It's like that freaking SpongeBob meme where SpongeBob's talking to Patrick. Write that down. Write that down.
Exactly. Write that down. Write that down.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, I think people hopefully, if we're talking about the guy, we're making fun of him. Hopefully they know what we're talking about. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're not starting with that though, right?
No.
All right. So what are you gonna start with? What's the first thing you wanted to talk about for your week?
So like we've done usually, I'm gonna start off with Darling in the Franxx.
All
I
right, all right.
watched episodes 11 and 12, which are Partnership Shuffle, which is episode 11, and The Garden Where It All Began, which is episode 12.
Oh,
Um,
I think I already have an idea what these might be. Okay, cool, cool,
oh my
cool.
God, dude. I already knew what this 11th episode was going to be. I didn't know what 12,
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to
oh,
talk about that in a moment. Okay, okay, yeah. Just
yeah.
explain.
Oh my God. So, okay, let me like give like a summary of like what the plot is of 11 real quick.
Yeah.
Basically, they're in the middle of Squad 13's like in the middle of a mission. Everything's going fine. There's a part where Fudoshi and Kokoro, he's trying to like kind of like like the way he is always with her. He's like, oh, like promise me that you'll be like my partner for like the rest of our lives and blah blah blah. And then she's like, oh yeah, sure. Let's like yeah, let's be partners for the rest of our lives. And she agrees. And then that's when everyone else is hearing it on like full blast. And so they're like, bro, you're like being embarrassing and like creeping us all out.
Yeah.
And dude, yeah, I can tell. Um, and what happens is that, okay, the mission's going fine. Everyone's like, working together well. And then Metsuro, he like passes out in the middle of the fight because I guess he exhausted himself too much. And then later, these people are tending to him like when he's like resting in bed, and it's because I guess he underwent like a dangerous procedure that like has like a 15% like survival rate for him to even like become like a parasite, and I guess it's like affecting him really badly. And and because like he's not doing so well, it seems like he's completely compatible with what's her name, 𝐼𝐚𝐽. And so basically that lady Nana, she asked the parasites if they want to switch like partners. And then 𝐼𝐚𝐽 says like, oh, I would rather like test out something like unique where it's like pistol to pistol partnering up. And so she asked Ichigo to be like her partner. And then like that's just like, oh yeah, sure, we'll do it. And it doesn't work, much like, like her surprise, but to Ichigo, it wasn't really a surprise because, the way it's designed is specifically, the pistol and the parasite, and then they're like, okay, who else is, willing to volunteer? And that's when Kokoro like lifts her hand up and she's like, yeah, I want to like switch partners with Kokoro, I mean with Metsuro.
Real
And
quick,
so,
just wanted to just correct something real quick. Parasite is what they call just any of the soldiers. I think what you meant is there has to be stamen to pistol.
oh,
Remember,
yeah, salmon.
flower terms. Stamen is the male part.
Yeah.
The female part is pistol. See, what you meant
Okay.
is that it wouldn't work pistol to pistol. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like that didn't work out, and then guess it would also not work if it was stamen to stamen. Um, and so Metsuru doesn't really want to like switch with anyone. And I think like it's a kind of implied based off of why he's not, like why things are not working for him, is because he's kind of mad because Hiro had promised him as a kid that when they grew up they would like pilot together in like the same Frank, because I guess they didn't know about the whole, pistol or stamen thing. And so because that never happened, he's like really mad about that. And so I guess like he was kind of, I guess, hoping that for once Hiro was probably going to like say like he wanted to be his partner. And instead, this girl over here, she's like, no, I want to be his partner. And even to like everyone, including him, they're like, why is she wanting to like switch partners when she works so well with Futoshi? And Fudoshi's like, why? Like you said, like you promised, like we were gonna be partners forever. And she kind of like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and all that stuff. She feels bad, and that's when 𝐼𝐚𝐽 switches with how do you call it, with Kokoro to be like his pistol. And so from here on out, it's kind of like they're all just like trying to do their missions while Fudoshi's like all emotional and like he's mad at Mitsuru, and Mitsuru doesn't really see the point because he doesn't really have like that whole thing going on, and so he even says like, why does it matter if we do switch partners? Um, then there's like a whole thing where um basically later, yeah, he tries to make Mitsuru like promise that he'll protect Kokoro, and at first he's like, no, why would I do that? Like that's kind of a waste of my time. And so once they get back into like another mission, Metsuru and Kokoro, they're trying to connect, and it does work at first, but then later Metsuru's getting stressed again, and so she talks to him and says like, why are you like, what's going on? And then he starts breaking down. And he starts crying. And he talks about how he wished that Hiro had like actually like like kept up his promise. And then that's when she mentions how she's not really a great person either because she literally just broke someone's promise like 2 minutes ago. And that the point is that like she just wants to be friends with everyone and like pilot with everyone. And that the same thing, like she thinks that he should do the same of being able to like actually, be able to like go and like ask for help from other people. And and then in the end, he kind of does understand her. He's like, you know what, like you're right. And so they do synchronize perfectly, and they are able to kill like the enemy. And then after that, after they're done, Futoshi gets mad and says like, hey, like what the heck, you were reckless. And that's how he tells him that he promises to protect Kokoro. And that's when Futoshi kind of breaks down and he like starts crying, and he even says like, oh, I loved her though. And so that's kind of how the episode ends basically.
Yeah. So yeah, some interesting stuff. Some weird dynamic, as it says. It's called partner shuffle for a reason. Um, yeah, we had some interesting stuff about I don't know. again, it feels like it's trying to say something about relationship. This is the part that's annoying. A lot of people take it way too literal.
I was about to mention that.
Like, yes, it's a metaphor for relationships, very obviously. And obviously it is kind of screwed up for Kokoro to like promise Futoshi one moment she'll be with him and then to kind of like ditch him like not even like 2 minutes later. But again, just because it's a metaphor for relationships, it doesn't mean that it is a relationship. Like a lot of people act like she's like this like
Oh
hoe.
yeah.
Yeah, this hoe that
Hmm.
like cheated on her like husband and betrayed him because she ran off with this other guy and all this stuff. And it's like just because it's like a metaphor for relationship, but like it's a stand-in for it, it doesn't mean it actually is. Like they never were
The
anything, you know what I
thing.
mean?
Yeah, they weren't.
Like she never had those feelings for him, you know, and she never said she did, you know what I mean? Like again, it's kind of messed up the way she like ditches him and stuff because maybe it was giving him hope. But again, they never were an actual thing. And a lot of people just treat it so like, oh my God, it's like so annoying seeing some of like the
Yeah.
discourse and the way people treat it, which is like really stupid.
Yeah, that's how I saw it too, where like people were like acting like, oh, he got cucked and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
no, literally like one, they never were a thing. Like even like before like it's obvious like they try to like I guess the writers wanted that to be a thing. But then like it's kind of like it's like, everything's like a metaphor. It's kind of like the equivalent of like, I don't know, like she liked Futoshi, but like a friend. And then like with Mitsuru, it's obvious she likes him more. But like for her, she doesn't really know that she likes him like romantically. It's more like she just says, "Oh, I like this guy, but I like this other guy because like there's something about him that is crazy." You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
actually piques
yeah.
my interest, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Once again, the whole point is that these kids don't really know anything about anything. They don't really know what their feelings are and their attraction to, other, to each other and all that stuff. So it's not like she did it with like this like malice where it's like, she like led him on and she like, cheated on him. And like you said, like he got cucked and stuff. Like that's how people treat it, but it's like, no. The whole point is that's
Yeah.
them discovering themselves and their attraction to one another and stuff. And, that's kind of where we see that Mitsuru's interesting that way that you can kind of tell that, again, if it's supposed to be kind of like a metaphor and, it's kind of a stand-in for like relationships and stuff, he wanted to be, with Hero. And obviously it's like the thing of like, if we're calling it like a relationship and it has to do with maybe like, I don't know, the whole thing is like a reproductive system, like we said, maybe a stamen and stamen, you can't really make a child that way, right? And so like
Hmm.
that's why, here, it doesn't work or whatever. And same thing with Ikuno and Ichigo. It's very obvious that this girl is interested in Ichigo in that way too. It's
Hmm.
and it doesn't work because the attraction isn't there and all it's it's a metaphor for the whole thing of reproduction and whatever, blah blah blah. And you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just kind of interesting how they're kind of showing that certain uh configurations don't work, and it is interesting seeing about the different shuffling around and the stuff it has to say about that, blah blah blah. But yeah, from here forward, yeah, Mitsuru and Kokoro are going to be partners, and then Ikuna's going to end up being partners with Futoshi, and yeah, it's going to obviously add some conflicts to the whole squad and stuff. So interesting stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then you watched episode 12. This one's going to be a good one.
Oh, this one's
So
crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I feel like this one I'm gonna make it more short, because obviously I have other stuff to talk about too.
yeah, yeah.
Squad 13, it's that basically they get back to where they were kind of raised to do some test. It's called the Garden. And they're wandering around and they're like, wow, like, and then it's kind of implied that they weren't even there like that. It's crazy. It was implied that they were there 6 months before and that they barely just went to like the what's it called, like the little area they live in, the plantations. It's
Yeah.
like it's implied that they barely just moved out a few months before and they're just back there like 6 months later. um and basically they're there, whatever, they're about to get tested and they do, and then they're greeted by this squad, which is squad nine, like nine.
Mhm.
And they kind of imply that, like, very straightforward, that 02 was on that team before. and that the leader, his name's Nine Alpha. And he even mentions how Zero Two used to have a code name and her name was like Nine Ida or something like that. Ida?
Wasn't it Iota?
Oh, Iota. Yeah,
Yeah, because
Iota.
doesn't everybody have like a Greek thing going, like alpha, beta, iota, that sort of thing? Don't they
That
have like
makes
a
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Um, and basically, from there, that's when like they're getting in a conflict, and then basically he points out stuff like, oh, like this squad is so different because they kind of act more on their like hormones and a bunch of other stuff, and they disobey orders and a bunch of other crazy things. And them, they're kind of just like literal child soldiers, if you think about it.
Yeah, they're
And
more
so,
like robotic and stuff, right? If I remember correctly.
yeah. And so that's why he gets kind of like, oh, you guys are fascinating in the sense you guys are so different from us. And he even kind of tries to disrespect them by saying it might be because Squad 13 is like a beta test squad.
Yeah.
And so that's when they kind of like argue saying like, no, it's just like, you guys are just like freaking like, I don't even know how they describe him, but they're saying like basically he's like a spoiled brat, like the way he acts, and that
Mhm.
like he's just trying to act all high and mighty because get it, he's official squad while they're not. And then and they're exploring more, and they try to see if they can meet up with that girl from the first episode, Naomi.
Oh, Hero's old partner, right? The one that it didn't
Yep.
work out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they ask like, hey, do you know if she came back here? And they say like literally there's like a lady who like tends to the children that are being raised there, and she says no, no, none of the children that leave any of the plantations ever come back here. And so like that's when like everyone there, they kind of just like realize like straight up, they're just like, oh yeah, like she died then. Like they killed her off. And that's what Hiro even says, like he's thinking about it. He's like, yeah, this is like where like we realize like all of us in the squad that like Zero Two was right. And then later they're just like wandering around when there's like a Klaxosaurus that they try to attack the garden. And so Squad 13 they get dispatched, and then Hero tries to team up with Zero Two, but he notices that for some reason her horns are more longer and her canines are longer too. And so when they're fighting, Zero Two just starts ignoring everyone's orders, including like Hero's. And that's when she gets very frustrated, and she explains that she needs to kill more Klaxosaurs so that she can turn into a human. And so that's when everyone's like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, what does that mean? And it's because it's explained like off camera before, like you can't hear anything. That Nine Alpha told Ichigo while they were arguing that basically Zero Two has like she doesn't really have a purpose. They just kind of use her like everyone else. What they do is because she's very rebellious, they gave her like a lie that if she kept killing the Galaxosaurus, she would become more of a human instead of like, her with the fangs and everything, like being a monster. And and so that's when they're just like, oh my god, like, like yeah, Zero Two is like literally going crazy now. And they try to like, stop her and stuff. And eventually what happens is like Zero Two attacks Hero at one point, and then he starts like seeing visions. And it's kind of implied that like at one point Zero Two was at the garden at one point, but like she was a child. And then like the only reason I'm saying that is because like at the end you see this girl that has like red skin and stuff. And like literally like Hero says like, oh my god, that little girl was you.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, the like next episode for sure is a good one. Oh man, I think yeah, I think from like here, I think you stop at 12, like 13, 14, and 15, if I remember, is like the ones that are like really good. And I think that's where it kind of peaks. So you're like almost like where it peaks, you know what I mean? Where it's pretty good, because yeah, you kind of okay, more they're dropping more stuff about the whole thing about Naomi, and she put, it's implied that she got like killed off or something because nobody knows where she's at. They refuse to like talk about her. So like more dark, stuff surrounding
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then something you didn't mention is that I think they see that there's kids at the garden and they're
Oh
being
yeah.
made
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're being made to parasites like younger than they were. You know what I mean? Because our
I
cast is like a
forgot to
certain,
mention that.
yeah, our
Yeah.
cast is like a certain age, but I think the kids that they see are like much younger and they're already making them parasites. And it's like, yeah, they're making them like parasites younger and younger now in order to fight off the Klaxosaurs. And I don't know, like all this stuff, like everything shows that they're in a situation that's obviously really crappy. They're being used, and it's like not going to end well, basically. And then that leads into
Yeah.
the whole thing too about, Zero Two, how she feels she has to fight all these things to become human. She doesn't want to be a monster, but it's kind of based on how her horns and teeth are growing and stuff. And yeah, it's like she it's not working. Like something's happening that's like transforming her. And by proxy, since Hero's her partner, and something's gonna happen to him too. They're like hinting
hmm
at all that. So they're definitely setting up a lot of like, oof, like what is happening? Like what's gonna happen? What is up with this like world and how they're using these kids, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah, and at the end, like you said, the fact that like, oh, where it teases that he has like a vision and he like, oh, you were here at the garden and I don't know, it's gonna lead to some good stuff. So the next
hmm
like 2, 3 episodes are gonna be like really good. That's where, like I said, it kind of peaks though. You know what I mean? But it's really good. It gets like more emotional stuff for sure. So, ooh, it's gonna be good when you get to those next time. But yeah, up to now, still like the world from what I remember, just trying to think back on what you'd explain and what I remember and stuff. World building's pretty good. Dynamics of all the characters and the emotions and stuff are really good. Um, I don't know, man. It's just fun ride up to now. Like I said, you're getting to that point where it's like, ooh, it's about to like pop off, next session or whatever. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say that, yeah, it's kind of weird that like, yeah, they're hinting at all this stuff because the thing they refer to is that like 02, I guess well, we already knew she does something to her partners that causes them to like almost like die whenever they, team up with her.
Yeah.
And they say like the guy from the Nine Squad, he says he's like the way they refer to it is like a curse that like when she interacts with like anyone and she gets too attached, it's like she drains their energy like a like I don't even know how to compare, but like yeah, like we'll just go anime villain style. We'll just say that where she'll drain a person's energy, and they just get like they just die. You know what I mean? Over time, like they just die over time. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
so like the thing is, they were saying like yeah, they just refer to it as like a curse, where like anyone that just interacts with her just dies, and that the fact that Hero's been around this long has already surprised a lot of the people from like the Nine Squad, if anything.
Yeah, I think that said like the most someone could like ride with her was like 3 times or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that's what they're saying that there has to be like that, or like there has to be something special about him. That what a coincidence that like yeah, like he hasn't like died.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. All right. Like I said, it continues to be pretty good. Next session's going to be a very good one. So I'll be pretty cool to see when you watch it and you get to it. Very nice.
Yeah,
All right. And then after that, I'm guessing that you watch some more Urusei Yatsura probably.
yeah,
I knew it.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. It was just like an episode catching up on some of the other characters. Um, it was about Ryunosuke and her dad, and her wanting to find out who her mom was, and then like him being him and being dumb and abusive. He kind of just keeps leading her on with like information stuff where like he's like, oh, this is your mom and her name was this, and then like 2 seconds later it's like found out like that's not even her mom. And then
Okay.
like no, like yeah, that's like an actual like thing where for some reason like she literally like he just doesn't want to tell her at all, and he just does it because he's like a dick, like literally straight up. And so like there's a thing where he's like, yeah, this is your mom, and like I met her this day. And then like it's like found out like 2 seconds later that he's like, yeah, no, I lied to you. And he's like, it was so and so. And then he just keeps leading it on, like he keeps going and going. And eventually, that's when we do find out her name was like I forgot what it was. It was like Hichiko or something like that. Heach or something like that. And like, he's like he does like every week he like goes on like the missing persons show, and he like constantly cries her name because he's always trying to look for her.
Oh God. It's so
Yeah,
random.
it's like the whole episode is like her, trying to be like, hey, like who the hell is my mom? And then it is revealed by like the end of the episode. She's reading a book that's supposed to be like a picture book, and it's shown that she's like, "Oh, this is supposed to be my mom," and she's like flipping through the pages, right? And like each page has a different picture of a different woman taking pictures of her, and she's like, "What the hell, Dad?" And she's like I knew you were like a pervert. And, like I forgot what else. And he's just like, "No, I just paid all these women to like pretend to be your mom because like your mom like ditched us basically." And then like they even say they're like she even mentions she's like, "Well, I don't blame mom for leaving you because you're such like a piece of crap, you know, like."
Damn.
And it's so true because bro is like the most like weirdest dude. And then like it's even revealed like early in the episode when she's eating at like Ataru's house, she tells like the mom of Ataru's mom, she says like, "Man, for the first time I've actually had like a good meal where my dad doesn't like put he doesn't put like sleeping pills in my food so I can go to sleep early or some dumb crap like that."
Oh my
So it's like,
God.
yeah.
It's
And
so
then like
bad.
yeah, it's really bad actually. And there's even like things where like whenever she like it's shown that she has her chest, like it's obvious, like he'll try to excuse it by being like, "Oh, you have like an injury there. We have to like pull out the first aid kit now."
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Freaking.
and then yeah, and then there like there's another part where like basically she wakes him up by accident in the middle of the night, and because he's like a weirdo, he starts trying to hug her like all tightly because he thinks that she's the mom, and so she starts freaking out and she like kicks him in the face, and she even mentions that to her friend, and she's like, "No, like my dad's like a huge perv, like he's weird."
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, like Ichigo, like I was gonna say Ichigo, Ryunosuke's dad is like one of the worst dads in anime history, like straight up, like.
Jeez. Yeah, they oh man. Yeah, sometimes they add some weird stuff like that just for the humor. It's just so awkward now.
I know, and then like it's like obvious, like even in like the show, like you think like, oh man, it's just like funny, but like they like even in the manga, they make it sound so obvious that everyone thinks like he's like a piece of shit, like literally straight
Yeah.
up. Like it's obvious that they just want to make him like as badly as possible, and then
Yeah.
to make it worse, he looks like Vegeta.
That's so
Like,
random.
and he's voiced by the same guy who does like Emperor Pilaf.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so it's like bro, like what the heck, man. Um, And yeah, that was pretty much the episode. It was just watching someone be like abused, basically, and then abuse the person back. And that
Oh
was
man.
yeah,
Don't you just love anime, man?
I love it. It was like last episode I started laughing
Oh my
because
God. Freaking anime is just so awkward sometimes, man. It just makes you go like, you know?
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just. All right.
yeah,
Pretty cool. Pretty cool, though. I mean, you're just trudging along with that. Not bad. What episode was that? Like the second, third
yeah.
one?
The second one, the
All
third
right.
one's
So,
gonna be about the Tarzan dude.
oh, okay. Got you. Cool, cool, cool. All right.
Yeah,
And then anything else or?
man, this is the thing I promised I was gonna talk to you guys about this week.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch all four episodes, but I did watch the first one. I am talking about Hazbin Hotel. I watched the first episode
Yeah.
and
Real quick, for anyone wondering, it's on Amazon Prime.
Prime. It's on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
on
know,
Prime. And the way they did it is that they dropped 4 episodes at once. And then they're going to drop another two like this upcoming week. And then another two a week after that. So it's going to be 8 episodes this first season or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. I
hmm
just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you think? Well, actually, before that, I guess for anyone who doesn't know, I would think everyone should know, it's been pretty big over on YouTube. It's become like a whole thing, right? But
hmm
basically there's this animator. Her name's Vizzy Pop. That's what she calls herself, online, Vizzy Pop. And she created two pretty big shows at around the same time. She created Hazbin Hotel and she created Hell of a Boss. And they both
hmm
take place in the same universe. And basically, Hazbin Hotel was first, made the pilot, and then, there was word that she was gonna try to, make a whole show out of it. And yeah, basically, we got news that A24, who makes all sorts of, movies, they produce all sorts of stuff, that they picked it up and they were gonna help her make into a show. And then as that was going on, she kept making Hell of a Boss, and that's already like on its like second season or whatever. It has like I don't remember how many episodes. Like I think the first season was like 10 episodes. No, that might be too much. I don't know. The point is there's at least more than like 8 episodes. I know that. So the second season's like underway, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, basically Hazbin Hotel. The whole point is that it takes place in, hell, and that there's, heaven and there's hell. And heaven, I guess they, once a year send an army of angels down to hell to kind of like purge the population. That way it doesn't become too like overcrowded. Because I think they say that something like that. It's like too overcrowded. So they
Hmm.
send, angels down to purge part of the population. And that way, hell doesn't become too overcrowded and too powerful to try to like rebel against heaven or something like that.
Yeah.
And the main character is the daughter of, Lucifer or whatever. And her name's Charlie Morningstar. And she wants to I guess she is saddened by like seeing all her people get like slaughtered once a year. And so she decides that, what if we try to rehabilitate some of the population? That way, if they're redeemed, they don't have to like be in hell anymore. And like we don't have to like have this whole issue of everyone getting slaughtered once a year, basically. And yeah, it's like this musical sort of adult comedy thing about this demon and how she wants to like open this hotel. It'll be like a rehab, and people come in and she'll try to like help them, turn their life around. That way they won't, be in hell anymore. I guess her idea is like, oh, maybe they'll like make it back into heaven or something, right? And yeah, it has a lot of, adult humor and cussing and gore and all sorts of stuff. And the first episode of the official series, it's pretty funny because a lot of times when you have like a pilot, when the official series gets made, they like remake the pilot or like they change some stuff, right? Here it's kind of unique in the
Hmm.
sense that no, the first episode, it acts like as like a sequel to the pilot. Like it picks up where it left off, funny enough. And I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what did you think of it? I guess,
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it's pretty good. I think that it has a lot of people. I've seen some of the complaints is they feel that it's not as like the quality of the pilot was better, which yeah, I guess obviously because she did it. It took probably years to make. And the whole point
Hmm.
is if she's trying to like kind of sell people on the idea, then she probably did her best to like really polish it, right? So I guess it kind of makes sense that yeah, she probably put her all into it. And I think it was even like Kickstarter or something too, if I remember. I'm not too sure. So it kind of makes sense that yeah, for the official series, maybe they're not going to use all of the budget on it because maybe there's certain moments they're trying to like build up to. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense that okay, maybe the animation quality isn't like as top tier. So that's one complaint that I can kind of see what people mean, but then I can kind of see why it happened. And then when it comes to the story, a lot of people are kind of, they kind of reveal in the first episode or maybe the second one that like the whole idea is that, oh, yeah, there's heaven and there's hell, but at least from what they've shown, it looks like some of the angels, they're kind of dicks, the same way that like the Denzians of hell are. And people are like, oh, we've seen that a lot, where it's like, oh, they're two sides of the same coin, blah blah blah, and you see that a lot where everyone's flawed and they're at each other's throats and all this stuff. The way I see it, it's like, well, first of all, they haven't said if all angels or all denzians of heaven are dicks. We've only seen like a few so far, right? And then not
Yeah.
only that, but it's like, well, even though it's like a trope that we've seen a lot of times, I still think that the way that they do it is well done, So,
Yeah.
you know, besides that though, yeah, you watched only the first episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched all 4 episodes, and I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I think what they're working with is pretty good. The way that they can definitely set up an issue where it's like, okay, she's trying to rehabilitate these people, and they kind of give us a little thing of like, ooh, it's gonna be a little harder than what she thought in terms of the situation that we thought of, like, oh, they come once a year and they start purging everybody. We learned something that's gonna
Yeah.
make it even harder. And I don't know, just the characters they introduce. I think the cast is pretty interesting. I think that designs are really interesting. The character dynamics and the relationships with them are pretty interesting. And kind of seeing maybe why they are the way they are. And I don't know, just stuff like that. I thought it was pretty well done. So most things you have to watch it. I don't really want to like spoil or explain too much. I feel like it's one of those things that you watch it for the character interactions and finding more about them and that sort of thing. But I can say that I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed
Hmm.
it. I thought it was well done. Um, and yeah, I'm curious to see kind of where they take the story and what happens next and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And I am curious to see more and see where the story goes. And all I can say is, good for Vizzy that she got this project off the ground. She even has, A24's help to make it a thing. And at the same time, she even has Hell of a Boss still going. So she has two pretty big shows. So she's definitely had some success. So good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
anything else you would throw out there or
Uh, not nothing much to be honest. No,
yeah,
I thought it was pretty good.
I feel like there's honestly not a lot to talk about. It's honestly pretty simple show. Like I said, it's kind of more of like once you kind of know the premise, just like okay about watching it, see if it's your thing, and then just kind of follow along, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, what I will say is I do think it's kind of interesting. Um, the whole hierarchy is really interesting. The pilot we saw how there's that radio demon,
Oh.
Alistair, that he's
Hmm.
kind of helping Charlie, and we don't really know why exactly. Like, he said it's like for his own amusement. Obviously, like, oh, because you're kind of shaking things up, and I mean that's interesting, because I'm kind of bored, so I'm kind of helping you along, right? But it is kind of weird because as you're watching, it feels like there's more to him, honestly. It definitely feels
Yeah.
like there's more to him where like I wonder if he's being as truthful as he says about like, oh, it's just 'cause I'm bored. So, I'm invested and that's why I'm helping you out. They're kind of, I don't know. There's like a weird thing that they say that like, oh, people thought he was like gone for good. And he kind of appeared after like a while of being away and like how he's like helping Charlie out and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of wondering what his deal is. It seems like there's more to him
Yeah. I was
than
gonna
what
say
meets
that
the eye.
he gives off like he's gonna like betray them pretty like I don't know, like he can betray them any second, honestly.
But that's the thing, I feel like that's too obvious. So what I'm saying is like I wonder if there's more to him that you expect him to betray them or screw them over because that's what like you expect because like it's really obvious. But based on kind of like his whole, oh, he was like gone for a while and he came back and like what's up with that? Where has he been? And like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just feel like maybe him betraying him would be a little too simple. I'm wondering if like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I just think like the whole hierarchy of power and, some of the stuff they reveal, like I said, a lot in the first four episodes and the whole thing with Alistair and some of the other characters. I don't know. I really am curious to see where they take it, I guess is all I can really say. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Like I said, I think it's pretty well done. I'm curious to see where this goes. So, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. And that was it for your week then, these three things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if you keep watching it. And for next week, like I said, they're supposed to drop in our two episodes. So we'll see if you catch up or whatever. If not, I mean, I guess next week if I watch it, I'll keep talking about it, that sort of thing.
Alrighty.
Cool. So, first thing on my list is that yes, I watched Hazbin Hotel as well. I did watch all four episodes, so that's something I had talked about and I checked it out. So that was pretty cool. After that, I watched a couple of new anime that I wish to talk about. I think, sometimes I do kind of get ahead of myself trying to cover everything I watched. And the very next week, I kind of feel like I kind of used it all up the previous week. So I think just discussing two of the ones I watched this week is pretty good. And then next week, maybe I could talk about like another two, just kind of pace myself. I think that's a little bit of a better idea. So I'm going to cover
Yeah.
two. The first one I want to talk about is that I watched a few episodes of The Dangers in My Heart season 2. So this is the one I talked about it last season or whenever it came out. That it's about this edgelord. His name is Kyotaro, and basically he's kind of an edgelord. He's into all sorts of crime, real world crime, fiction, and he's all about when we're introduced, he's annoyed by everybody around him. He's like, oh, I should like, kill one of them, especially this
Bruh.
one popular girl in my class. I should like, like kill her. And like, he's just like super edgy and super like, oh, I've read all about it. And, I'm into like all of these like crime, murder stuff. So like, I know how I would do it, right? He's all like edgy and stuff, right? But we can
Mhm.
tell he's not as edgy as he says, right? It's just him being, because he doesn't fit in. And so he has like this, kind of weird, um, what do they call it? It's like a trope, like when someone's like a chibunuyu, it's like the same
Oh,
thing.
it's called like middle school syndrome in English.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the same thing that like Megumin has, or like like it's people like they try to act like they're
Hmm.
like some sort of like a like, oh, I'm like super powerful, or like I'm like the main character, and I have like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
powers people don't know about. Like all
yeah.
it has sometimes it's
Mhm.
edgy, sometimes it's just like they think that they're like so like cool, right? So anyway, the point is he has that, and the whole point of the series is that we have this edgelord. His name's Kyotaro, and he even mentions that, oh, I should like kill this girl in my class named like Anna because she's so like perfect and she's so annoying. You know what I mean? She's such a
Mhm.
normie. But one day that he's in the library, he sees that she's like just there being a fat ass and eating snacks and hiding in the library so nobody sees her. And as he kind of like gets to like know her and like see her in the library eating and stuff, he sees that she's like really like kind of ditzy and clumsy and she's not as perfect as he thinks. And they kind of strike up a friendship, right? Where like, I don't know, like, he doesn't talk about her eating her snacks and in exchange, they kind of start interacting and you can kind of start to tell they start to fall for one another and stuff, right? And he kind of starts to smooth out some of that edginess. Basically, second
Mhm.
season picks up where the first season left off, where it's more about them, bonding, getting closer. It's really obvious that they're like falling for one another, that sort of thing. And just more of that. And in these episodes, it's more about like he, goes over to her like house for the first time and, he meets her mom and dad, stuff like that. And, just typical rom-com stuff and
Yeah, yeah,
super sweet, super, super. I like the characters and, it's super well done, I think. And seeing their relationship and how it develops and they fall for one another, super cute. And, pretty simple, pretty basic stuff. Not really too much to it, but it's just one of those things where, even though there's so many rom-coms out there and, it might sound kind of like, oh, another one of these, right? About, guy that's rough around the edges and girl being cute or whatever. It's still really well done. It still feels unique enough that you root for the characters. You want to see more. You know what I mean? So that's all I can really say. I just really enjoyable. I really like it. I want to see more. I've heard really good things about the story and where it goes, people who have read the manga and stuff. So it's just one of those things where I'm excited to watch it every week and just see where these two goofballs go in the relationship. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and that is over on High Dive. And yeah, so far, I think there's like 3 episodes out. I've watched everything that's come out so far, and it's supposed to go for 13 episodes. So it'll just be interesting to see where it goes and how much their relationship progresses and stuff. So over on High
Yeah.
Dive, 13 episodes, The Dangers in My Heart, season 2. And yeah, I usually give it like a 8.5, maybe like an 8.75. I think it's pretty good. I recommend it. I like it. So.
Yeah.
Then after that, I watched another one that's another like rom-com sort of thing. This one is called Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable. And again, it's a rom-com. It's about kind of like a shy boy being interested in this kind of like really outgoing, sort of ditzy girl. What makes this one different is that it's about this guy. His name is Subasa, and he moves to like this really it's not like tiny, but it's definitely a smaller little city compared to the fact that he's from Tokyo. And on his first day, when he's kind of lost and he's looking for directions, he meets this girl named Minami. And Minami, they call her a gal, gyaru, which is the style of girls that they're, they kind of dress me a bit, like provocative, and they have like the kind of tan skin and the blonde
Hmm.
hair, whatever. And it's kind of become a trope about, gyarus with like a heart of gold, because before they used to be seen as like delinquents and troublemakers and, kind of like sluts or whatever, right?
That's
But I don't
true.
know. Now they've kind of, turned that around where it's like, oh no, gyarus kind of have a heart of gold, and it's, it's more of like they act, kind of this way because they're kind of um a bit rebellious, but they're just trying to be like more like unique, right? And that's kind of why I like Gyarus too, because I think they're kind of cool because instead of fitting to the mold of the way the girls always dress the same, and they always act the same, and typical oh, they're so you know quiet, and they're so obedient, they kind of follow the rules and stuff. It's kind of fun to see a Gyaru that they're kind of like, nah, I'm kind of rebellious and I like to stand out, and stuff like that. That's why I think they're kind of like fun. I think that's why they're used so much in anime and stuff. Anyway, the point is, so he meets a girl like that. She's super out there, and she's super she kind of says stuff that could be interpreted as like dirty, but she like doesn't even like, notice, and there's like a lot of comedy there and stuff. And what makes it kind of unique is that, yeah, our boy Subasa, he's actually from like a really rich family. And this girl, she's kind of like, I mean, she's like well off enough, right? But it's all about like, oh man, kind of loud, outspoken girl that maybe people will look down on for, kind of like the way she acts, kind of, interested in this boy that's like super like prim and proper, and he's kind of rich and stuff. And in one of the episodes, we even see that his grandma sees him hanging out with Minami. And at first she's kind of like, oh, like, why are you hanging out with this like girl, right? And he even like is kind of embarrassed, and he doesn't like, want to put Minami on the spot because he knows how his grandma is. And he's like, oh, it's just some girl from school or whatever. But Minami, she's just like, no, I'm not gonna like let you like just say I'm like some friend. I'm some girl from school. Like we're friends, aren't we? And you can tell she's kind of interested in him, and she's kind of like disappointed. So she totally just like puts on like her charm and like agrees to like help the grandma with like directions because of how it's like snowing. That's what makes it unique too. Like it's snowing, so like everything's all about
Hmm.
like snow and. And so she's like, "Oh, I'll help you, like, with the quicker route, and I'll help like carry like your bags and stuff." And so she kind of charms the grandma, and the grandma's like, huh, like this girl, maybe I judged her. She seems really nice, and my grandson seems really happy talking to her, and he doesn't have much friends. And so you kind of tell like the grandma approves of her, which is kind of nice. So,
That's super cool.
yeah. So, again, even though it's like a rom-com and you can say like they're a dime a dozen, and you've seen a lot of this stuff elsewhere. Again, I just think the execution is just well done, and it's just really fun. And like the fact that, super outspoken girl, but this time, it's kind of like a rich boy, and the whole thing about, he's new to the city, and the thing with like his grandma, and like, oh, she seems to like, kind of like approve of this girl, and just all sorts of stuff like that. It's just a fun dynamic so far. Again, super cute, fun to watch. And it'll be interesting to see what direction they go, because it looks like they're going to introduce some of her friends, and we'll kind of see what happens like with the friends and all that. And I don't know, so pretty fun stuff.
Yeah.
And again, that's Hokkaido gals are super adorable. That one is over on Crunchyroll as of, us recording this. I think there's like 2 episodes out. So it'll just be interesting to see. It's supposed to go for 12 episodes. Again, it'll just be interesting to see where the story goes in those 12 episodes. So, you know. And yeah, it has a 7.35 over on my anime list. I'm not sure why it's like so like more mixed, you know what I mean? But I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I would probably rate it maybe a little lower than the Dangers in My Heart. I think the Dangers in My Heart is a bit more unique, and it is like a little bit more like well written. At least, especially it helps because it's on the second season already. But I would still give this like an 8 out of 10. I still think it's pretty good. Maybe like a 7.75 at the lowest, because I still really enjoy it and recommend it. So,
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
yeah. And finally, the last thing I did, this is what took up a lot of my last, few days as of us recording this. And I won't talk about it too much. It's one of those things you have to experience for yourself. But we talked about it last week. And so far, I've been pleasantly surprised. I played quite a bit of Palworld.
Good noise.
Yeah, so Palworld, the game that has, kind of marketed itself as being like Pokemon, but, more like, kind of taking the piss out of it, where like there's like guns and there's like labor camps for like your pals, which are like Pokemon, and it even like leans into like some of the more, eyebrow raising designs and, stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
It's how it's been marketing itself. And yeah, surprisingly, the game starts off pretty normal. In case you guys are wondering, like, what's the game like? It's basically if you've ever played, like survival games where you have to like do a lot of crafting and stuff. It's part that mixed with the obvious, Pokemon thing of having to like catch pals and, level them up and, all that stuff. And it's also kind of like a big map, kind of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. So it's like a mix of all sorts of stuff. Like there's a lot of like crafting and base building, but then there's like the whole, monster capture and, building up like your bestiary and, leveling them up sort of thing. But then there's like a huge map that you can traverse all over the place, big open world sort of thing. So it's a combination of all those things. And I don't know. I really like it. I just think it's really well done. Like it's not the most perfect game. Like it is kind of buggy and glitchy and some of the stuff could be a bit better. Like I do think some of like the mechanics are kind of annoying. Like let's say you build a bed, just for
Yeah,
example, right? Because you can like lay in the bed and that's how you get your HP back, right? And you can also like go from like night to day. It's unfortunate that anything that you put down, like I said, for example, a bed, let's say you're like, oh, I want to move my bed. I don't want to leave it where I left it at. You can't move things. Like once you build something and place it, you would have to like totally destroy it and then rebuild it somewhere else. And
that is
then
weird.
some of the stuff, like you can't put things too close together because it says like, oh, they're too close together. And like, they can't be touching. And it can be kind of annoying and kind of like gimmicky too. Like, how we've complained about like Tears of the Kingdom, trying to put things together and how it's like, oh, that doesn't like, snap where it snaps to like a spot you don't want it to like snap to. And, just stuff like that where it's like really annoying. Like you can't really build and craft the way you like want exactly. Stuff like that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just stuff like that. It's kind of annoying. And I feel like the leveling is kind of weird, where like you're trying to fight something, let's say like at level 10, and I feel like level 15, it can still do like a lot of damage to you, which is like you think like you would have the advantage, but it can still be kind of rough, stuff like that. So I don't know. There's just some things, I have some complaints. Like I said, the game isn't perfect. But overall, I just have been having a lot of fun with it. I think the gameplay loop is like really addictive, where you like, find a spot, you kind of start your base there, and as you're building up the base, because you're doing like these little missions, like it says like, oh, like, make a pal, get to work and build a bed, for instance. And then, you level up your base. And then, oh, now you have room to put like two pals. So put two pals to do something around the base. And this time, build a, workbench so you can actually like build, and craft stuff. And then you like, turn that in and you like level up again. And so you're like building up your base. And as you're building it up, you can like make more things and have more pals doing stuff. And it's like really fun because yeah, you're crafting stuff, building stuff, making your base bigger. The pals that you're catching, not only can they be in your party, so you can like fight more pals and explore the world, but you can put them in the base. And it's pretty cool because instead of having to be like sitting there crafting the stuff and doing the things, based on whatever skill the pal has. Like they have like different little skills. Like some of them are better at building, some of them are better at, farming, some of them they have like fire powers so they can like cook the food, stuff like that. You kind of just let them do the things for you. and you like, leave and explore the world and capture pals, and then you come back and then you just keep building the base and assign them to do different things and stuff. So it's like really cool. It's like really like the gameplay loop is like really addicting, honestly. It's really fun.
So today's subject, slavery.
Slavery. And that's the thing. At least for me, I haven't really gotten to anything that seems like slavery. I don't know if it's just the way I'm playing it, or it looks like more some of the more edgy stuff comes later, like the guns and some of that stuff, like
Yeah.
the more crazy stuff. But so far, it's just been like, oh, I have a little base and I have little beds. And I have like the little place for them to eat, and I have to like put food in like the little baskets. And it's like, okay, you work on farming, you work on making the food, and do the thing where like you produce eggs and wool and stuff, because there's little Pokemon pal things that look like sheep and chickens, right? And
Mhm.
honestly, they seem pretty happy, they seem pretty chill, like they're just doing their work and they're hanging, they take a break when they need to, they eat whatever, they go to bed, and then they get up and they keep doing it. And so far it hasn't seemed like slavery or exploitation. It seems like they're pretty happy. So, I don't know if it's just because I'm not playing it all, like super like mean or anything. And then like I know there's supposed to be like a thing where like you can like, oh, kill your pals and like turn them into like food and stuff. Haven't really seen any of that yet. So I don't know. Maybe I've just been too nice to them. So far, everything's been pretty calm. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know like they joked about how like, yeah, you can like make them like labor camp, and like you can like butcher them and stuff like that. And like the guns, and so far I haven't even like unlocked the guns yet. That's like level like 25 or something, level
Dang.
30, and like I'm barely getting to that.
Slavery.
So I don't know. It seems like there's some edgy stuff, but I haven't gotten into it yet. So I don't know. But again, I recommend it. It looked like the game was gonna be a shit post. So far it's been pretty fun, and I recommend it. It's just a whole lot of fun. And I can't wait to like dive in and play more of it.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And that is it for my week.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So watched some stuff, played Palworld a lot. Fun week. Fun week. So I want to get to the news. And luckily the news stories are pretty short. I think we'll be able to blow through them pretty quickly. The first one, as the title of the article states, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle launches in 2024 for Xbox Series and PC. So yeah, earlier this week, Microsoft, they had like this, Microsoft Direct sort of presentation, right? And they talked about like 4 different games. The one that really stood out to me that I think was kind of like the one that they saved for last, if I remember, the one that was kind of like the really big one, is that, yeah, apparently there's going to be an Indiana Jones video game. And it's supposed to take place between 2 of the movies. I forget which ones. But it takes place between the movies, and it's supposed to be like, oh, here's like this, like, oh, it says right here, between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. So it's between, I think that's like the second and third movie, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's supposed to be just another adventure that Indiana Jones went on, basically. And, it looks just like Indiana Jones. They molded it to look after him. I don't think, Harrison Ford is voicing the character, but, at least it looks like him. And it looks like they're definitely trying to be like as cinematic as possible, make it look like it fits into like the world of the movies. And I don't know. I mean, there's not anything that looks like it super stands out about the game. There's nothing that makes it look like, oh my God, I need to play this like right now. Like nothing that makes me go like, it's like a must play title. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the fact that, we don't really have games like Uncharted or, Tomb Raider really putting out any new games in their respective series, it makes me go, I'm down to play another game of that type, because those games are always really fun, like an adventure, archaeology, you're going on an adventure to, some sort of like a lost treasure and fighting people and, doing all sorts of stuff with like puzzles and, combat and whatnot. Like those games are always fun, that style. And since, like I said, those other 2 series aren't really doing anything at the moment with like their franchises, I'm down to play, this game, and it looks like it could be fun, so I'm down. That's basically the way to, say it.
Yeah. It seems pretty interesting,
Yeah, like I said, nothing like too special. Nothing that makes me go like, oh my God, it's like a must have, must play, anything like that. But I've enjoyed those other 2 series. So I'm willing to give this a shot, basically. And at least it looks good from what they showed, so why not?
Yeah,
What about you? You think you'll check it out or not
that's
really
what I
your
was gonna
cup of
say.
tea?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out. Maybe.
Nice, nice. Because honestly, I don't know. I mean, these games aren't really your cup of tea, but if you say you're gonna check it out, then pretty cool. And yeah, it's supposed to come out sometime this year, so we'll just have to see if that really happens or if it gets pushed back or whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's being made by the people who have made Wolfenstein Machine Games. They've made all of, like the new Wolfenstein games since like 2014. So it's a pretty good studio. They make like good games. So at least it's a credible studio behind it. So everything points to it being like, all right, let's check this out when it comes out. Fingers crossed that it's a fun title. So then after that, moving on to our second news story. As the title of this article states, Until Dawn movie in development. So yeah, Until Dawn, the game came out for PS4 and it was a whole lot of fun. Kind of put the studio, what's it called? What's the name of the studio? I don't want to confuse it with the other one. Until Dawn is made by, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh my God, what is the studio that makes Until Dawn? Uh Supermassive. There we go. I finally found it. Because there's Supermassive, and then there's another studio that sounds just like it. But I think the other one is the one that's called like Super Giant Games. I think they're the ones that have made like Transistor and Hades and stuff like that.
mm,
But yeah, Supermassive, they made Until Dawn. They made all of those games, like Little Hope and Man of Medan, and I think they also made The Quarry and all those games. They have like a certain style, right? Where it's kind of like a choose your own branching path where the things you do kind of decide where the story goes, who lives, who dies, stuff like that. This
yeah,
was basically the first title they made, and I'm gonna be honest, it's probably like their best one so far too, where it's just really good, where it's just about these friends that they're gonna supposedly meet up for some sort of like a party in the woods, and it's snowing and stuff starts to go down and they're being like hunted or whatever, and that's why it's called Until Dawn, because it's to see if they can survive until dawn and not get killed. And it's just so good where you like make all these different like choices, and it's like butterfly effects for it, it affects things. And it's fun how there's like these 8 characters that all of them are kind of like, they seem really tropey at first, but then like a lot of them kind of have like different things going on from what you expect, which is really interesting. And it's so crazy to think that one of the characters is played by Rami Malek, who's now like an Oscar, you know. Did he win the Oscar, or was he like an Oscar nominee? I don't remember if he just actually was an Oscar nominee or if he actually won the Oscar, but it's just so crazy to think, Until Dawn has like a freaking, Oscar level actor and stuff, which is really funny. And I don't know, it's
yeah,
just such a weird game. It feels like it literally just like, like it should not have been that great. Like it sounded like it should have been super goofy, super like should have not done well, but it just did really well, was really fun, really well done. And like I said, it's kind of what like got this studio going, honestly. So I don't know, it's just really crazy to think about. But anyway, the point is, long story short, what I was trying to get to is that yeah, they're apparently I feel like I had heard this for a while. I feel like I had heard oh yeah, just real quick, I looked it up. Let's see.
oh yeah,
Uh
him, yeah,
yeah, get he did get the Academy Award. Holy crap.
hmm,
Yeah, damn. So yeah, he is an Academy Award winner. Holy shit. Nice.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I had heard rumors for a while that they were thinking of maybe turning it into a movie, and it looks like yeah, they're finally like going ahead with it or whatever. Like it's not just like a rumor, like they actually are looking to like get into production of it. And even though it's one of those things where like on the one hand, it's kind of a shame because it will lose some of the nuance of like choose your decisions and branching paths and all that stuff. That's what makes like, the game so unique and like so fun and replayable. I mean, you are going to lose some of that, which kind of sucks. But I still think that the story is interesting enough. It still has enough going on that I think a movie works. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the hardest thing to adapt. So
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be really
not.
interesting to see, how the movie chooses to adapt the story, like what, since branching paths, like what they decide to like really go with out of the decisions. And it'll just be interesting to see how well it's made, I guess. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it seems like it should be easy. It doesn't seem like it should be like the hardest thing to adapt. But obviously, it's until recently that, a lot of video game movies don't do very well. So let's hope that this goes in the good pile, not the bad pile, basically.
Hmm.
But I have my fingers crossed. I'm hoping it does well. Like I said, I think it's something that's simple enough to adapt. So we'll see how it goes. But it'll be interesting to see, does this get made? Does this get made? When does it come out? How does it do? All that stuff. But it's definitely something I'm going to keep an eye out for. So
Yeah, I would too.
yeah. The biggest question is, will they get Rami Malek to portray, re-portray his character?
I mean, if he's down for it, which I feel like maybe most likely, yeah, then yeah. But I would imagine like if not, it's probably gonna be because like he's gonna be busy or something. And
Yeah, because that'd be really easy since they did, motion capture. That's what like made the game look like so good. They did like a lot of motion capture, and like all the people that they got, the characters look like them. So it would be kind of easy to like say, okay, Rami Malek is back as his character. Hayden, Panettiere, who used to like voice Kyrie and came out on the show Heroes or whatever. She's like a big actress. She can come back for her character. Like it'd be easy to call these people and like, have them reprise their characters. But
Mhm.
at the same time, you know how things work. Sometimes they're not really looking for that. So it'll be interesting to see who they like cast and stuff too, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. And finally, our last news story. Yeah, we had kind of fallen off of the show. I mean, I know I fell off of it. I know you fell off of it before me. So I don't know. We'll see if I catch up with it. This kind of reminded me of the show again. As the title of this last article states, Pokemon Horizon anime's English trailer reveals March 7 debut on Netflix. So yeah, when Pokemon Horizons first came out, we were watching it. I think I got to like maybe episode 10, right? Remember we were talking about it? I think I got like episode 10 or something like that.
Oh
Mentioned
yeah.
that I thought it was interesting. I liked it. I was having fun with it. I thought that the new protagonists were more interesting, and it was interesting to see how different it was from like the formula they used for like, all of like the Ash stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then after that, I'll admit I kind of fell off of it because I think there was maybe like some delays, maybe, or I don't know. It was a combination of I don't remember if it got delayed. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But that combined with the fact that I was like watching other stuff, playing other stuff, busy with like work and all these things going on. I'll admit I fell off of it. And this kind of reminded me of it. So we'll see if I, dive back in at some point. But all that aside, yeah, March 7th is when it's supposed to debut on Netflix. They're gonna start the English dub. And I'm pretty sure that the anime has progressed quite a bit. So by the time that this comes out, they'll definitely have enough material to keep at it for a while. So
Hmm.
yeah, so for a lot of people that haven't been able to watch it because it's one of those things that it's only really available, in Japan right now. It's gonna be on Netflix, so that should be pretty accessible to everybody. And based on the dub, I like the voices. I think they're fine. I think it seems like they're doing a pretty good job. And yeah, I'm really curious too because I've just kind of heard all of the Pokemon names in Japanese for the longest time. So looking forward to seeing them in English. Because in
Yeah.
Japanese it's always kind of weird. We've talked about that. So I don't know.
Lucky.
Yeah, yeah, they're like Pokemon Naki. That's what they call a freaking Chansey. And
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like,
yeah, some of the names are just so weird, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm just excited that like, okay, it's cool. It feels more official now that we're in there now, you know what I mean? Like now we're getting the official English dub of this, newest season, whatever you want to call it. It's okay, we're in there now. Like it feels more established, so to speak. So that's pretty cool.
You,
But yeah, there you go. If you've been looking forward to that, because you're like, yeah, I can't access it. It's in Japan. It's in Japan, and I don't really ever watch the Japanese version of it. Then good news, the dub is coming pretty soon. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna see if I ever like jump back into that because I totally fell off of it. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see where the story is. How far it's gone. So yeah.
Yeah, I only got to like the part where like we met Liko dad, and then that was it.
Oh yeah, when we met Ash,
Bruh.
he changed his name to Alex for some reason. It's so weird. Oh my god, it's so dumb. Anyway. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the news this week. There you go. So some stuff to look forward to. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Yeah.
To piggyback off of this last news story, we were talking about Pokemon, and we're talking about Pokemon anime. I really quick wanted to talk about as my recommendation slash topic of the week. And I feel like it also fits because we're talking about Pokemon, the anime, and then we're talking about
Mhm.
Palworld, which is Pokemon parody, game. I recommend checking out Pokemon Origins.
Oh, I love Pokémon Origins.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy because okay, Palworld is basically, it's making people go, man, I wish Pokemon wasn't so formulaic. I wish it would take some chances and, kind of have more of like the goofiness and maybe some like, a bit of like big maturity to it, blah, blah, blah. And so people are playing Palworld and they're really enjoying it because it's so different from the usual Pokemon we get, right?
Hmm.
And then Pokemon Horizons, it's kind of mixed, but some people are kind of enjoying the fact that, okay, finally Ash isn't the protagonist and we're, kind of getting, a new formula sort of thing. So, we have that. However, I really love Pokemon Origins because before, they finally ended Ash's story and they kind of give us Horizons, which, like I said, feels like it's kind of a step in like a different direction. I gotta be honest, the Pokemon anime with Ash, it just felt so bland. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, people are trying to be, oh no, I always loved it, and I'm so sad that Ash is gone now, and Ash is the GOAT, and like all these things, right? I feel like a lot of people are trying to go in that direction now. But being very honest, back when this came out was it like 2016? I think it was like 2016, right? The Pokemon anime was very basic. And it was one of those things where people were always lamenting that we never really got to, adapt the games really. Like Ash is his
Yeah.
own thing, and the way they treat like the lore is totally different. And that's why Pokemon Origins was so cool because it follows the plot basically of Pokemon Red and Blue. Like the protagonist is Red and his, rival is Blue. And we get to see him actually go to the different gyms and they feel like the game. And then like the final boss even is like, Giovanni and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's just so good. And like the style is really different too, because while, the Pokemon anime has always felt more like cartoony, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like it's an anime, but like it's kind of like a lot of people, it's like their first anime because it feels like more cartoony, right? Like it really fits in, with like more Western shows. It was really cool. Pokemon Origins had like a totally like different style, and even like the way that like the Pokemon battles were like framed and stuff just felt very different.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you just haven't watched Pokemon Origins, it's so good. It's 4 episodes, so it's not very long, but it just does a very good job of adapting the story of the games. And like I said, being very different, being even a little bit more mature in how it handles things, and following Red's story, which is like really cool. So I recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't really know where you can watch it though. I gotta
I
admit.
think you can find it on like I know on YouTube. I think like people have uploaded the episodes a lot, and it's like the full episodes. And then
Yeah.
I know the other thing is you can watch it
Yeah, I'm
on.
looking it up right now. It just says you can watch it on YouTube, though you do have to pay. And you can also watch it on Amazon Prime. But I think that's it. I don't think it's like free anywhere. I don't think it's on any streaming service or anything. I think it's only on YouTube and Prime if you like pay for it, which is really crazy that it felt like this should be such a bigger thing, but it felt like it was like kind of like it came out, that was cool, got its attention, and then it kind of has been, it kind of faded to obscurity after that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like it, and I just think it's such a shame that we have gotten other fun, Pokemon things. Like not too long ago, I was talking about, Paldean Winds and how that was really cool because it's like a very nice art style, and it's really cool how it follows these kids, in the academy, stuff like that. But it's a shame that, Pokemon just doesn't take very many chances, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the anime is always kind of like the same thing. I mean, like, yeah, the format is a bit different now. Horizons is, kind of, you know, it's not the same as what we had before, but like for the longest time, it was always the anime is Ash, and it follows that little formula of, being, like I said, very much like a cartoon. It almost fits in with like a lot of like Western shows. And then games are almost always the same thing. Mainline games, especially nowadays, that they don't really like do spin-offs or anything, and they don't really take chances with like the mechanics and stuff. So I
Hmm.
don't know. It's just a shame that they don't like take too many chances. Like something like this. That's why it's always like so well regarded, and I always like recommend check it out. Like stuff like this or Pokemon Coliseum because they're so different. And it just feels like such a breath of fresh air. I feel like the series, the franchise could do so much, and they don't really do it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend Pokemon Origins. I think it's great. I think it's a whole lot of fun. And man, I just hope that one of these days they just do something else like this.
Yeah. I agree. I liked Origins a lot. I thought it was a pretty good spin on, Red and Blue, especially like how it leads up to the end, which, yeah, I want people to watch it because the end is more of a big surprise compared to, like the games. Um, and I was gonna say that, yeah, hopefully they do something similar like this where they adapt the games. And I don't know, maybe if they're gonna like reintroduce like a new mechanic in a new game, or not reintroduce, more like introduce a new mechanic into a new game, that they use some past property kind of like this, and they like, you know what I mean? Like they kind of use that as the alternate twist.
Yeah, because right now you're saying that. I mean, I don't know. Like at least, kind of said Horizon's a bit different. So they still kind of going in a direction of the anime not being the same thing. And they do have projects, especially now. Like when Origins came out, I think Pokemon was just always just the anime, right? The same main series, right? But since
Yeah.
then, like I said, they've had kind of some spin-offs, and like they did Pokemon like Chronicles, they did Paldean Winds, they did a few things like that where they're kind of doing like some side projects. And then, with like Palworld, I've heard it's doing like really big, doing gangbusters, and you know, Arceus was a bit different, and Scarlet and Violet, was a bit different too. So I don't know. Hopefully, if they see that, okay, people are being receptive to these other things and these changes, it's hard because, Game Freak loves to just do the same things and not really take chances and all that. But hopefully, Game Freak, since we talked about Palworld, hopefully maybe they'll take some chances with, mixing things up when it comes to like the gameplay of like the mainline series. And when it comes to like the anime, hopefully they keep doing like spin-offs and just other projects that aren't so samey. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Like Pokemon hasn't felt peak, so to speak, for a while. But I don't know. Hopefully it's almost like I'm hoping they can be bullied into like doing more interesting things with like their franchise, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah. But alrighty, guys, there you have it. That is it for this week, and that is it for this podcast episode. A lot of things that we watched and played, a lot of things to look forward to. I don't know, like I said, it just feels like the year is just starting pretty well off. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I know for next week, I'm gonna play more Pal World, see if I can get farther, see if I can unlock some of that more like edgy stuff. That way I can like maybe talk about it. That'll be fun. And then
Yeah.
I think. that one, game collection, the remasters, the Another Code R, it's called like Another Code Recollection. I believe it
Yeah.
came out. I'm gonna try to see if I can track that down and maybe, check that out. That way I can talk about it. And then, more Hazbin Hotel to watch for sure. More anime to try to, check out and, discuss those next week for sure. So those are the things I have in mind. What about you? Anything you have in mind to like maybe check out and try to bring that to the table next week?
I'm not actually sure, to be honest. I
Yeah,
don't
because
really know.
you for sure are probably gonna watch, the same stuff you watched this week, more Urusei Yatsura, Darling in the Franxx, maybe, catch up with Hazbin Hotel, but you're not sure if anything like new.
No, I'm not actually sure about that.
I got you, I got you. But all right, I mean, hopefully you can at least, watch that stuff and discuss it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast episode. Hopefully we gave you some ideas of stuff to watch or play, that sort of thing. We're gonna try our best for sure to be back next week, fingers crossed. And yeah, with that being said, we will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.